Texas Tech continues their road success in the Big 12, this time with a road victory by the score of 81-71 against the Cincinnati Bearcats. In today's recap video, we'll discuss who stood out for the Red Raiders, including a star freshman taking the Big 12 by storm, how the Red Raiders are improving on the defensive end of the floor, and much, much more. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast, and I'm thinking about doing live post-game recaps here on the channel. If that's something you're interested in, simply let me know by liking the video. And then also, while you're down there, give me your one word to describe this Texas Tech victory over Cincinnati. I'll tell you mine here in a little bit, but let me know down on the pinned comment below. And again, if you want live recaps here on the channel, like the video. All right. Let's jump into the stats, shall we? I think that's probably the easiest place to start here for Texas Tech and Cincinnati, as you can see them on your screen now. It's funny, Texas Tech actually started this game 1 of 8 from 3, finished it 12 of 31, not too bad, nearly 40%. Really, that's their season average on the year. They shot 45% from the field, shot 83% from the free throw line, won the rebounding battle, and offensive rebounding really was the big difference in this one for the Red Raiders. As we switch on over to strictly, the Red Raider stats in this one, I talked about it in the sense that offensive rebounds, you had 10 of them, you had 10 second chance points. That was huge in this one for Texas Tech. You were led by JT Toppin, who's simply solidifying himself as a top 3 big in the Big 12, and it is not a debate. He goes for 20 points yet again. Fewer rebounds in this one with 7, but he was dominant and really impactful in the sense of creating space and really having those hockey assists. What I mean by that is he didn't get the assist technically, but the guy he passed to another guy, and that guy inevitably got the assist in this one. Texas Tech only had 13 assists. They typically had more, but they limited the turnovers and only had 8 and created 6, stealing the basketball, with Elijah Hawkins being really, really pesky, creating 3 steals, as well as Christian Anderson, the aforementioned freshman star, having, the second most points on the Red Raider team in this Cincinnati matchup with 18. He is truly blossoming into one of the elite guards in all of the Big 12. He really is having one of those impacts off the bench for Texas Tech that reminds me of Chance McMillan. The difference is Chance McMillan was 22. Christian Anderson is 19. And he is a bona fide star and a go-to player for the Red Raiders on their second unit, and then as he integrates into really the first unit, because as you can see on your screen right here, 35 minutes. He led the Red Raiders in minutes in this basketball game. He was sensational on a night where D5 really struggled. I mean, this is probably the worst game of the year for him. He had 4 turnovers. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He had a different look thrown at him basically every time down the floor by Wes Miller's defense there by the Bearcats. And tip your cap. I mean, D5 wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, and he had some mistakes that were self-induced, but there were also a lot of mistakes that he made in this game that were induced by that Bearcats defense and them throwing different looks every time down the floor at him. I thought he stepped up when he needed to late in the game, but you were really led in this game by 4 guys. You look at it. You had 55 points from Chance McMillan, JT Toppin, and Christian Anderson. If you want to add the 14 in terms of Kevin Overton, 4 players had 69 of your 81 points in this game. You shot fantastic after you started off 1 for 8 from 3. Quick math right there. Let's see if I can do it. You went 11 of 23 after starting 1 of 8 from deep. Okay, and your defense really stepped up in this one. As I get back on the screen here, the thing that stood out to me really in these past 2 victories for Texas Tech, more so in this one, is that Texas Tech continued to improve upon really the defensive end of the floor. What you did to Arizona was obviously some of your doing, but also Arizona can't really shoot that well from the outside. And they struggle when Caleb Love isn't getting into the paint and creating opportunities. That's what you limited against the Wildcats. Against the Bearcats, they too are not a good shooting team. In fact, really, they only have 1 shooter on their team, and Lukosis, right? You limited him. Simple and plain. He had a couple of good shots in this game, but really overall, you limited the good looks that he had. And that's something that has stood out to me, not only these past 2 games, but really in Big 12 play dating back to the Iowa State game. So I guess over the last few games for Texas Tech is that their perimeter defense has gotten a lot better. And I think they have found something playing both Fetty and JT in a lineup together. It really hides some of the flaws you have on the perimeter. Texas Tech continues to struggle in terms of quick starts and sustaining them, right? They always seem to go on a 3-4 minute stretch where it's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing here on both ends of the floor? But really, when they level down and show their maturity with all the experience that they have, they're a tough team to beat. And they continuously in Big 12 play prove that they are the better team each and every night they are on the floor in the final minutes of a game. They simply dominated Cincinnati late in this game. Now, the score may not indicate it, but when you go look back at everything, Cincinnati had maybe 2 good shots in the final 5 minutes. The Red Raiders seemingly had multiple in the sense of they were closer to 6 or 7 good shots. They did have a couple of bonehead plays. It's college basketball. That's going to happen, right? But overall, you can tell that this team is rounding into shape in terms of what Grant McCasland had envisioned early on. When putting this team together, you go out and add a JT Toppin, who is one of the top 3 bigs in the entire conference. You continue to have a D5 who, yes, he struggled tonight, but you can tell that he makes life just so much easier for each and every player on this roster, even when he struggles. Then you have a guy like Chance McMillan, who just seemingly is finding his footing in this offense around a guy, Elijah Hawkins, who is an elite passer. And you're seeing Chance slowly build up confidence later on as Big 12 play continues. And again, you are now 5-2. You are perfect on the road still in Big 12 play if you were Texas Tech. And that is something that you cannot take for granted. Okay? You are 4-0 on the road. Now you go home and you get to play 2 teams that, well, one of them did just beat a top 25 team in the country in Baylor, in Waco, and the TCU Horned Frogs. But you start off with Oklahoma State, 2 teams you should beat at home, and you have a great chance to go into the month of February where things do start out pretty difficult as you go down to Houston, then you play Baylor, and then you go out to Tucson to place the aforementioned Wildcats, right? So you could potentially go into the month of February 7-2 if you handle business on your home floor, and you absolutely should. You're going to be heavily favored in these 2 matchups if you're Texas Tech. Now, the most interesting aspect of this for Texas Tech is that you struggled a little bit early on. You had that blip on the radar against UCF, but ever since then, I could argue outside of Houston, you have been the most dominant team in the Big 12. I could argue that. You have easily the best offense in the Big 12, the most efficient offense in the Big 12. Is your defense the best? No, let's not get ahead of ourselves. But it's improving each and every night. It's showing what they need to in terms of really showing those quick feet, not giving up easy layups on a consistent basis and making life difficult on the perimeter. That's what we wanted to see, and they have done that the last 3 games, really even against Iowa State, a team that's going to get buckets even if you're playing great defense. They're one of the best teams in the league and really one of the best teams in the conference, okay? Or in the country, excuse me. But it's one of those things where a lot of people were down bad. Go look at my mentions on other videos and go on my Twitter, and you can see that. This team is really good. They have a lot of flaws, just like any other college basketball team, but you can tell that Texas Tech is improving on those flaws each and every game that comes up on their schedule. And they're not going to be outplayed on the offensive end. It's going to be a defensive issue, and that defense is getting a lot better and improving each and every night, and they showed that at Cincinnati in this one as Texas Tech improves to 5-2 in conference play. Absolutely perfect on the road, 4-0 so far in Big 12 play as Texas Tech beats the Cincinnati Bearcats up in Ohio, 81-71 behind JT Toppin, Chance McMillan, and an absolute superstar freshman in Christian Anderson. Again, let me know down in the comments if you want me to do live videos here to recap the games. We'll see. If we can get this video to 150 likes, we will do a live recap video here for an upcoming game for Texas Tech. 150 likes. If you stayed that long in the video, there you go. That's the goal right there. And another goal is I want you to let me know your one word to describe this Texas Tech win at Cincinnati. Mine is gritty. This team is a lot tougher than I think a lot of us give him credit for, me included, right? They're learning how to play more physical, and it's not being a detriment on the offensive end of the floor where they're going to be one of the best teams in the country in that regard, but they're starting to really click now that they're having live in-game reps, that's something that they desperately needed. Practice can only get you so far playing together. You need live in-game reps, and they're slowly starting to do that. The metrics are backing them up in terms of being one of the top 15 teams in the country, and now they have a chance to win 2 games at home, starting against the Oklahoma State Cowboys on Sunday to improve to 6-2, and then TCU after that, and hopefully be 7-2 going into the month of February in the Big 12 Conference. All right, I'm RC Maxfield. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube, and it's 100% free. You can't beat that. 100% free. Nobody else is doing that on YouTube in the Texas Tech space. So if you want to be a part of that community, like I said, just simply like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the Back to 12 squad today.